Author's POV, Friday nights at Soul Muse, the cozy little bar near campus, were always the same: dim lights, soft music, and students pretending they weren't stressed about midterms. It smelled like citrus soda and cheap perfume, like laughter and secrets. N sat at a high table with her friends, swirling the straw in her drink, pretending she didn't feel the weight of a specific gaze on her from across the room. Jeon Jungkook leather jacket, messy hair, earrings glinting under the fairy lights. He was slouched on a couch with his own group, phone in hand, legs spread lazily like he owned the place. Every few minutes he'd look up, eyes flickering over to her table, only to look away like he hadn't to everyone else. They were just friends. Barely. He teased her, annoyed her, stole her fries, and rolled his eyes when she complained, pretended not to listen when she talked about her day, yet somehow remembered every tiny detail. But that was all pretend interest, pretend indifference. Y/N, are you even listening? Myra nudged her. You've checked out like 10 times. Sorry, Y/N said, dragging her eyes away from Jungkook. What were you saying? I was saying, Myra grinned. Jiho from our design class is here tonight, and he keeps looking over here. Y/N followed her gaze. Jiho stood near the bar, laughing with a friend, fingers tapping against his glass. He was cute in that soft, artsy way: round glasses, friendly eyes, paint smudge still on his wrist. He caught her staring, smiled, lifted his drink a little in greeting. Heat crept up her neck. She smiled back, shy. See, Myra whispered, he's into you, and you need to move on anyway. Y/N blinked. Move on from what? Mira scoffed. From your not crush on Jungkook, obviously. I don't have a crush on him. Y/N protested immediately. Right, Myra said. Then why do you know his exam schedule better than your own? Y/N opened her mouth to argue, didn't find anything convincing. On the other side of the room, Jungkook's friend nudged him. She smiled at him, the guy said, nodding toward Jiho. Jungkook didn't look up. Who? Y/N, the one you're always pretending you don't care about. Jungkook's thumb paused over his screen slowly. He lifted his eyes. Y/N was still looking toward the bar, cheeks pink. Jiho said something to the bartender, then started their way, weaving through the crowd. Jungkook's jaw tightened. He looked back down at his phone, ignored the twist in his chest. A/N POV shift, oblivious. Y/N observant. Jungkook. Y/N POV. It's just a drink, I told myself as Jiho made his way over. We're classmates, totally normal, completely fine, nothing to panic about. He reached our table with an easy smile. Hey, he said. Y/N right? Yes, I replied, grateful my voice didn't crack. Hi, we're in design theory together, he reminded me. You did that presentation on color psychology. It was really good. Oh, I said, flustered. Thanks. Mira kicked my leg under the table. Do you want to sit? She asked. Scooting over, Jiho glanced at the empty stool next to me. If that's okay. Yeah, of course, I said quickly. He sat, close enough that his shoulder brushed mine when he settled. My stomach flipped. He smelled like soap and something woody. Didn't think I'd see you here, he said. You always look so serious in class. I laughed. That's just my default exam face. We fell into easy conversation classes, professors. How the vending machine in the art building ate everyone's coins. He was funny, relaxed, and he was looking at me like I was interesting. "Can I see your notes from last week sometime?" he asked after a while. We could maybe grab coffee and go over them. My heart stuttered. Coffee with someone who wasn't Jungkook. "That sounds nice," I said. "Sure." His grin widened. He reached out, fingers brushing my forearm lightly as he said, "Great. It's a date then." The spot where he touched me buzzed warm before I could react. Another hand appeared wrapping gently, but firmly around my wrist. I turned. Jungkook stood beside our table, dark eyes unreadable, jaw tight. "She's busy," he said. "She already has plans. A/N. He doesn't care. But suddenly, he's canceling her dates for her author's POV." The table fell silent. Myra choked on her drink. Jiho blinked. "Oh, I didn't realize." Y/N stared at Jungkook, wrist still in his grip, heartbeat pounding in her ears. She tugged slightly. His fingers didn't move. Her skin felt hot where his hand wrapped around her, thumb resting against her pulse, like he could feel exactly what he was doing to her. "I didn't know you were with someone," Jiho said awkwardly. "I'm not." Y/N snapped automatically, yanking her hand free. Something flickered across Jungkook's face, gone too fast to catch. "She just forgot," Jungkook said smoothly, ignoring her. "We have a group thing tonight. Prepping for the showcase." "Right." Y/N. Every eye turned to her. He held her gaze like a dare-do-we. She said tightly, his jaw clenched once. "Yeah, we do." She forced a smile for Jiho. "I'm sorry. I didn't check my messages properly." "The coffee, we can reschedule." Relief softened his features. "Sure, text me," she nodded, heart sinking and soaring in confusing directions. Jiho gave Jungkook a polite nod and drifted back toward the bar. The moment he was gone, Y/N rounded on Jungkook. "What was that?" she hissed. "Saving you from a bad date," he replied, totally unfazed. "You don't get to decide what's a bad date for me." "Did you even know his last name?" Jungkook asked. She opened her mouth, closed it. "That's not the point," she said. "You can't just show up and claim I'm busy." "You were," he said. "With me." Her chest stuttered. "Excuse me," he shrugged. "We always hang out on Fridays." "No, we don't," she said. "Sometimes we do. Sometimes we don't. And even if we did, you never asked if I wanted to tonight." His eyes darkened. "You looked uncomfortable," Jungkook said. "He was already touching you." "It was just my arm," she exclaimed. "He wasn't attacking me in a dark alley." Jungkook. His jaw flexed. From the other side of the table, Myra gave her a meaningful look. "I'm just going to get another drink," she muttered, grabbing two friends with her. "You two talk or fight, or whatever this is." They left. Y/N and Jungkook were suddenly alone in the noisy bar, a bubble of tension around them. No one else could hear a/N. POV shift. Jealous Jungkook, in denial Jungkook POV. He'd acted too fast. He knew it. 1 second Jiho's hand had brushed her arm, casual. Nothing. The next second, Jungkook was on his feet, crossing the room without thinking. That ugly, hot twist in his chest, roaring into something bigger. He'd told himself for months he didn't care. She was just part of the group, just someone who talked too much about fonts and stared too long at sunsets. Someone who rolled her eyes at him and stole his hoodies and left sticky notes in his notebooks. Someone he'd started checking rooms for before he walked in. He shoved that thought away. Now she was glaring at him like he'd ruined her life. "Why are you mad?" he asked, even though he knew. "Because you embarrassed me," she said. "Because you walked over here like you own my time. You don't." The words landed sharper than they should have. I wasn't going to let him just what? She challenged. "Talk to me. Be nice to me. Ask me out." Heat flared in his chest. "Yes." She stared. His own honesty startled him. He scrubbed a hand through his hair. "You don't know him," Jungkook muttered. "Guys like that." "Guys like what?" she demanded. "Cute, kind, interested. Guys who flirt with anyone who laughs at their jokes," he shot back. He was already eyeing 3 other girls at the bar. "And you don't flirt?" she asked, voice shaking. "You don't look at every girl in this place, except me, like I'm invisible." His stomach dropped. "That's different," he said. "How?" Her eyes were shiny now, anger and something else mixing. He didn't answer because the truth was, yes, he flirted with strangers, with girls whose names he didn't remember the next day. He never flirted with her because flirting with her didn't feel casual. It felt dangerous. "If you don't have an answer," she whispered, "you don't get to interfere the one time someone actually chooses me." The music shifted to a slower song. Couples moved to the small space near the front to sway under the lights. He hated it, all of it. "You shouldn't go with him," Jungkook said anyway, doubling down. "You deserve better." "And what do I deserve, huh?" she challenged. "Someone who pretends I'm just another face. Someone who knows exactly how I feel and ignores it. Someone who waits until another guy touches me to suddenly care." His chest punched tight. "You think I know how you feel?" he asked quietly. Her laugh was bitter. "Everyone knows how I feel, Jungkook," she said. "You're just the only one pretending you don't." She grabbed her bag. "Enjoy your night," she said, turning away. "Go flirt with someone you actually see." He watched her walk out into the cool night, jaw tight, hands clenched. He didn't follow. Not yet. He told himself he was giving her space, really. He was just scared he'd prove her right. She calls out his pretending and walks away. /n. Silence, distance, and a party that finally exposes what he really feels. Authors Pav. The next week felt wrong. No late night memes from Jungkook. No "You forgot your charger again" texts. No walking her home after study sessions, pretending it was on his way, when it wasn't. Y/N focused on classes, projects, anything but the ache in her chest. In group chats, Jungkook was still there, sending reactions, sharing playlists, responding to everyone except her. He'd reply if she said something to the whole group, but their private chat stayed silent. "Talk to him," Myra urged one afternoon, sprawled across Y/N's bed. "You two are impossible." "I already talked," Y/N said, flipping through her notes. "He heard me. He chose to ignore it. Maybe he's confused." "He's not confused about basic respect," Y/N replied. "If he didn't want me, he could have just said so. Instead, he wants me not enough to try, but enough to ruin it when anyone else does." Mira winced. "Yeah, when you say it like that, he sucks." Y/N smiled weakly. "The worst part is, I still want him." Mira sighed, patting her leg. "Then let Let him really feel what it's like to not have you around. See if he still wants to pretend. The universe apparently liked drama, because a few days later, a message appeared in the group chat. Jin, house party at my place Friday. Theme, I survived midterms, barely Namjoon. I survived students, barely Mira. I survived my own procrastination, Jungkook. I survived Y/NS presentation on Kerning. Barely Y/N stared at that last message for the first time all week. He typed her name. Her lips twitched despite herself, Myra. At Y/N you're coming. Dress up. No arguing, Jungkook, don't. She'll outshine the whole party. He deleted it, quickly replaced it with Jungkook. She'll make the rest of us look underdressed. But some of them had seen the original Myra sent Y/ and a screenshot privately. He typed this first eyes, she wrote. He's not as detached as he pretends. Y/NS heart squeezed. Still she typed Y/N I'll come. Why not a /N? POV shift, party night, new guy, and Jungkook watching authors POV. Jin's apartment buzzed with music and laughter Friday night. Fairy lights looped across the ceiling. Snack tables overflowed with chips and instant noodles. And someone had already claimed the aux cord for dramatic Ostsy/ and walked in wearing a simple black dress and a denim jacket. Hair styled a little nicer than usual. Myra had swiped gloss onto her lips at the last second. For morale, she'd said Jiho was there. He smiled when he saw her. Hey, you made it. Hi, Y/N said, suddenly self-conscious. You too, rain check on that coffee, he asked. I'm free tomorrow. Before she could answer, a familiar voice floated over from the couch area. Jiho. Someone called. You joining the game? Be right there, Jiho replied, then turned back to Y/N. Think about it. She nodded. He brushed her elbow lightly as he left. Her skin tingled. She didn't look around, didn't need to. She knew Jungkook had seen. He sat on the arm of the couch, drink in hand, smile easy as he joked with a couple of friends. But his eyes were on her. Every time she laughed, every time Jiho drifted back to talk to her again, every time Jiho's hand brushed her shoulder as he leaned in to be heard over the music. Myra leaned over to Y/N at one point, whispering, He's staring so hard I'm surprised your dress isn't catching fire. Y/N's chest fluttered, but she acted normal. If Jungkook wanted to pretend, fine. She could pretend too. Halfway through the night, someone suggested games, truth, or dare chaos in a bottle. They sat in a loose circle on the floor, bottles and plastic cups scattered in the middle. Music turned lower. Jin grinned mischievously. We're adults, he said. Let's make questionable choices. The bottle spun, landed on random, people silly truths, mild dares, then it landed on Y/N. Truth or dare? Jin asked. Y/N hesitated. Her gaze flicked around the circle. Jiho sat 2 people away, smiling encouragingly. Jungkook sat directly across from her, legs stretched out, arm draped over his knee, expression blank, except for that dark edge in his eyes. Dare, Y/N said. Jin's grin widened. Finally, he tapped his chin, pretending to think. Okay, he said. I dare you to slow dance with someone in this room for the duration of the next song. Your choice. A chorus of ooh went around the circle. Y/N's face heated. She could pick anyone. She knew who she wanted but wanting. And having were different things. Jiho leaned toward her slightly. You don't have to if you're uncomfortable, he murmured. Fine, she said, her eyes flicked up. Jungkook watched her expression, carefully indifferent. Like he couldn't care less who she chose. Like it wouldn't matter. Her heart clenched. If he wanted to act like that, fine. She stood, smoothing her dress, walked past him, and stopped in front of Jiho instead. Dance with me, she asked. Jiho's smile broke across his face, bright. Yeah, sure. Someone switched the playlist. Soft music filled the room. They moved to a relatively empty corner. Jiho's hands settled lightly on her waist. Her arms went around his shoulders, leaving space between them. It was respectful, gentle, sweet hand. Absolutely. The most intense thing Jungkook had ever watched in his life. She chooses someone else to dance with, and he finally breaks a/n. One harmless dance, one jealous Jungkook, and one line he can't swallow anymore. Author's Pav from his spot on the floor. Jungkook's gaze was glued to them. Jiho's hands on her waist, the shy smile on her face, their bodies swaying slowly to the music. His drink tasted like nothing. His friends laughed about something. Someone nudged his shoulder. He didn't hear the words. Something ugly and hot crawled up his spine. He pretended not to care. He'd built that persona like armor. But watching another guy's fingers rest where he wanted his teeth clenched, his chest burned. Myra noticed. She watched his jaw tighten, watched his hand slowly crush the empty cup he was holding. She leaned in. You okay? She asked. Fine, he said. The cup crinkled loudly in his fist. Totally, she deadpanned. You look completely chill. He didn't answer when Jiho's hand slipped a little lower on Y/NS back. Jungkook's fingers twitched. The song ended. Applause and teasing whistles filled the room. Jiho pulled back slightly, smiling down at Y/N. That was nice, he said. She replied, cheeks pink. Jin shouted for someone to turn the music back up. The circle dissolved. People drifted into smaller clusters again. Y/N stepped away from Jiho, but he caught her wrist gently. You okay? He asked. You look a little far away. She smiled. I'm fine, just tired. Do you want some air? He offered. The balcony's open. She hesitated. Fresh air sounded good, getting away from the heat and noise. And the way she could feel Jungkook's gaze from across the room sounded better, she said. Sure. Jiho's hand rested lightly at the small of her back as he guided her toward the balcony door. And that was it. A/N. POV shift. Possessive Jungkook snaps. Jungkook Pav. He could handle the talking, the laughing, even the dancing barely, but when Jiho's hand slid to the small of her back, that intimate, easy, familiar spot, and started guiding her away from the room, away from him, toward some quiet corner, something inside him clawed its way out. He stood before his brain fully signed off on the decision. Where are you going? One of his friends asked. Getting air, Jungkook muttered. He crossed the room in long strides, jaw locked. He reached them just as Jiho started to open the balcony door. Y/N. Jungkook said. She turned, surprised. His eyes flicked to Jiho's hand on her back, then to her, then back. Can we talk? He asked, voice tight. She's with me right now, Jiho said, not unkindly. We'll be quick. Jungkook's gaze cut to him. Sharp, cold. I wasn't asking you. he said. The air around them crackled and frowned. Jungkook, he dragged his eyes back to her, swallowing down the instinct to just take her hand and pull. You said you wanted me to listen, he said, voice lower now, to actually talk. I'm asking for that. Now, there was something in his eyes that hadn't been there before. Unshielded Jiho looked between them, picking up on the tension. I can give you guys a minute, he said carefully, letting his hand fall away from her back. I'll be inside if you still want air later. He slipped away, leaving them standing in the doorway and crossed her arms over her chest. You can't keep doing this. I know, Jungkook said, but I'm done watching him put his hands on you like he has any right. Her breath hitched. Any right, she repeated. What about you, Jungkook? What right do you think you have? He stared at her for a second, then took a step closer. That's what I'm trying to figure out, he said quietly. What right I can ask for? What right you'll actually give me instead of the ones I keep taking? Her pulse pounded. Talk, she said. You said you wanted to talk. Then say it. His throat worked. He looked terrified, but he kept going. When I told you I didn't care who you dated, Jungkook said, I lied. Her heart stopped. I told myself you were free to do whatever you wanted, he continued. And I still believe that, but the idea of you doing it with him, of you letting him touch you, make you laugh, take you home. His hands curled into fists at his sides. It makes me feel like I'm going to lose my mind, he admitted. Her eyes burned. Because you're jealous, she said. Yes, he said, because I'm jealous. Because I'm in love with you, and I'm an idiot who thought pretending not to care would hurt less than losing you. Her lungs forgot how to work. What? She whispered. He laughed once, humorless. You really want me to spell it out here? He asked, at the doorway of a party. Yes, she said. Because you chose this place to start dragging me away every time someone touches me. You can confess here too. He stepped forward again, close now, close enough that she could see the way his eyelashes trembled. I remember everything, Jungkook said, the first time you stole my hoodie. The way you smiled at the bar that night. The way you always stay back to help clean after group projects, even though no one asks you to. The way you look at me when you think I'm not paying attention. He swallowed. And the way that stopped, he said, after I acted like you were crazy for thinking I knew. Like I hadn't noticed, like I hadn't been trying not to do something about it for months. Her eyes filled. You did know, she whispered. And you still? I was scared, he said simply. Of what this would turn into. Of what I'd become if I let myself have you. Because I already feel violent when someone else even brushes your arm. Because every time someone else touches you, I feel like I'm going to break something. His voice dropped. But you're right, Jungkook said. That's not your problem. It's mine. And if you want to go back in there and let him hold your hand, take you on a date, I'll deal with it. The words tasted like ash in his mouth. But I need you to know, he finished quietly, that if you pick me instead, I'm done pretending I don't care. If you let me touch you, I'm never going to act like it means nothing. The party faded to a dull hum behind them. It was just them, him, and the space between them, pulsing with everything they hadn't said. His jealousy finally explodes into a real confession, a /n. She makes him say it properly, and then shows him what caring looks like. /n Pav. I imagined Jungkook saying he liked me 1,000 times drunk, leaning on my shoulder laughing, half joking softly, half asleep on the phone. I hadn't imagined it like this, jaw tight, hands shaking, eyes raw like he was pulling words out of somewhere deep and painful. I'm in love with you. If you pick me. I'm done pretending every crush I'd had before felt cheap compared to how my heart reacted to that. Say it again, I whispered. He blinked. What? I want to make sure you're not just reacting to him touching me, I said. I want to know you'll still feel this way tomorrow morning when no one is watching and nobody else is around to compete with. His gaze steadied like he'd been waiting for that challenge. He took the last step that erased the gap between us. His hand lifted, hovering for a moment before settling gently against my jaw, calloused thumb brushing my cheekbone. His touch was so careful it made my throat burn. He ducked his head, eyes locked on mine. I'm in love with you, Jungkook repeated, slower this time. I've been in love with you. Long before he walked in, long before anyone else even knew you were looking at me differently. I just chose to act like I didn't see it, because I didn't know what to do with how much I wanted you. My breath stuttered. And now, I whispered. Now I know, he said. Losing you hurts more than any risk that comes with having you. So I'm done pushing you toward other guys so I can pretend I'm noble. I want to be selfish. I want you to say no when someone else touches you because you want me instead. Tears slipped down my cheeks. He wiped them away with his thumb, eyes softening. If that makes me possessive, he said quietly, fine, but don't mistake it for not caring. I laughed, choked and watery. Jeon Jungkook, you're literally the worst at not caring I've ever seen. He smiled faintly. You noticed? Of course I noticed, I said. You think I didn't see you waiting outside my building? By coincidence. Every time I worked late. Or the way you always sat between me and any guy who joined the friend group. Or how your mood tanked every time I mentioned a crush. He groaned under his breath. You were supposed to be oblivious. I was, I admitted, for a while. And then I wasn't. And it hurt, a lot. His hand cupped the back of my neck now, warm and steady, fingers sliding into my hair. I know, he said softly. I'm sorry. I thought if I acted like it was nothing, it would go away, that I could be good enough to let you find someone uncomplicated. Someone like Jiho, I said. He swallowed. He's not a bad guy. If you choose him, I won't sabotage it. My chest twisted, but I prompted. But if he puts his hands on you like that again, he added, voice dropping, I'm going to want to peel them off. A startled laugh escaped me. There it is, I said, the crazy jealous side. Touch what's mine, he muttered. Heat shot through me. Who says I'm yours? I asked. Heart hammering, he met my gaze head on. Asking, he said, not assuming, be mine. For real, not in my head, not just in the moments when no one else is watching. Let me be the one you go home with, the one who gets to hold your hand without needing a dare or an excuse. Everything I'd been holding back broke free. Anger, hope, fury. Took a shaky breath. Then I stepped closer, hands sliding up his chest, fingers curling into the fabric of his shirt. His eyes widened, pupils blowing, breath catching hard. Jeon Jungkook, I whispered, if I say yes, you don't get to pretend anymore. No going back to ignoring me in group chats. No acting cool when someone else flirts with me. No more pushing me away and then pulling me back only when you're threatened. You either care or you don't. I do, he said instantly. You either want me, I continued, voice wobbling, or you let me go. His fingers tightened at my neck. I want you, he said, so much it physically hurts when I see someone else touch you. I exhaled shakily. Then prove it, I said. Choose me, in front of yourself, not just in front of other guys. His brows drew together. How? He asked. I rose up on my toes, heartbeat in my throat. Start here, I murmured. Ask properly. His lips parted, he leaned down, eyes flickering between my eyes, and my mouth. Be my girlfriend, Jungkook said. Let me love you. Let me show you that I notice everything about you, not just when someone else does. Tears blurred my vision again. I smiled, helplessly. Okay, I breathed. Yes, for a second. He just stared like he couldn't quite process it. Then something broke. He dropped his forehead to mine, a choked sound leaving his throat. His hand slid around my waist, crushing me closer, like he needed proof I was really there. I leaned into him fully, arms looping around his neck. Then his mouth found mine, and there was no pretending left. They finally choose each other. No more games, /n. The morning after, same friend group, same campus. But pretending not to care is officially dead authors POV. They didn't stay on the balcony. Longjin yelled for more snacks. Someone started a sing-along when y/n, and Jungkook re-entered the apartment, cheeks flushed, lips a little too swollen. Myra took one look and nearly dropped her cup. Oh, she mouthed, eyes wide. Jungkook's hand was at the small of y/n's back, now not covert, not hesitant, just their dot claiming dot, protecting without choking. Jiho caught y/n's eye from across the room. He raised a brow in silent question. She offered him a small, apologetic smile. He nodded once, understanding dawning as his gaze flicked between her and Jungkook's hand later. When y/n went to refill her drink, Jiho came up beside her. No hard feelings, she asked. No, he said easily. I don't like losing, but I like losing to genuine feelings. She blinked. You noticed, he chuckled. I'm not blind. He looked like he was going to murder me every time I touched you, she winced. Sorry. Hey, Jiho grinned. Get yourself a man who looks at you like that, right? I'll find someone who looks at me the same way. He bumped her shoulder lightly. Still friends? He asked. She said, smiling. Definitely. Jungkook appeared a few seconds later, eyes narrowing automatically at their proximity. Jiho laughed. Relax, guard dog. I was just returning her. Jungkook's posture eased the tiniest bit, but when Jiho walked away, he slid his arm around y/n's waist, tugging her closer. Guard dog. Y/n teased, he shrugged. If the collar fits. She snorted. You know, she said. If you'd acted like this from the start, we could have saved months of pining. His head dipped, lips brushing the shell of her ear. Would you have liked me this much? Jungkook murmured, without watching me lose my mind over someone else touching you. Her cheeks heated. Maybe not this much, she admitted. He chuckled against her skin. Then it wasn't a total waste. He said /n. Final POV shift. Quiet campus morning, soft possessiveness, and no more pretending. Jungkook POV. Monday morning, he met her at the campus gate. He'd done it 100 times before. coincidentally. Today wasn't a coincidence. He leaned against the stone pillar, hoodie up, hands in pockets, watching for her when she appeared, hair tied up, backpack slung over one shoulder, scrolling through her phone. Something warm bloomed in his chest as she almost walked past him. He reached out fingers, hooking gently through the strap of her bag. She looked up, startled, then smiled. "Stalker," she said, "you like it?" He replied. He fell into step beside her. They walked through the courtyard, fallen leaves crunching underfoot, chilly air turning their breaths visible. She shivered slightly. He pulled his hoodie down and tugged it over her head. She sputtered. "Hey, you're cold," he said. "I'm not. You're always warm," she muttered, sliding her arms into the sleeves anyway. It hung huge on her. The way he liked his fingers brushed her hand as they walked. He could have played it off as an accident. Old him would have dot instead. He took her hand, laced their fingers together owned it. A couple of their friends gaped when they saw Myra. Wolf whistled. "Took you long enough," she yelled. Jungkook felt heat creep up his neck and just laughed, squeezing his hand. At lunchtime, they sat together in the cafeteria when some guy from another major came up, clearly about to ask if the seat beside Y/N was free. Jungkook didn't say a word. He just looked at the guy. Calm, steady, and slid his arm over the back of Y/N's chair. The guy took one look at the picture, her leaning unconsciously into Jungkook's side, his hoodie drowning her frame. Their fingers still intertwined on the table, and backed away with a sheepish grin. "Touch her again and die" was nowhere in his actual words, but it was very clear in his eyes. Y/N elbowed him lightly. "Subtle, polite," he corrected. "You said no violence." "I also said no more acting," she reminded him. He nodded, serious now. "I meant what I said," Jungkook replied. "I'm not going to pretend I don't care anymore. If I'm jealous, I'll say it. If I'm upset, I'll say it. If I love you," he shrugged, "I'll say it." Her chest squeezed. "Say it then," she challenged, eyes bright. "Right now." He leaned closer, resting his forehead against hers despite being in a crowded lunchroom. "I love you," Jungkook said. No jokes, no deflection, just truth. "And if someone else touches you," he added, voice dropping just for her, "I'm still going to want to break their hand, but I'll start with holding yours tighter instead." She laughed, soft and full, eyes crinkling. "Deal," she whispered, "but just so you know, I only want your hands on me anyway." He felt his heart stutter, then race. He kissed her temple. Didn't care who saw. Later that evening, as they walked home, she tripped over a crack in the sidewalk. His hand shot out instinctively, grabbing her waist and pulling her into him. She steadied herself, face inches from his. "Careful," he murmured. "I thought you didn't like touching me," she teased. He huffed. "Bad branding," he said. "The new version is, I'll be the first one to touch you, so no one else needs to." She rolled her eyes, fondly slid her arms around his middle. "Congratulations," she said. "You've upgraded from pretending not to care to being disgustingly boyfriend-coded." He smiled into her hair. "I can live with that," Jungkook murmured, his hands tightened around her, pulling her impossibly closer. As they stood under the streetlight, everything quiet except their breathing and the distant city noise. This, her warmth in his arms, her laugh against his chest, her trust was worth Every terrifying confession, every melted piece of armor, every moment he chose to care out loud, he'd pretended not to care. Until someone else touched her now. He wasn't pretending anymore. /n. Sometimes it takes the wrong hands on you to make the right person finally grab tight and say, I care. I'm jealous. I'm yours.